from Hofstra's James M. Stewart Stadium. It is the veterans of the Long Island Championship game here in Class C against those newcomers from Islip. The Buccaneers coming away with their very first Suffolk County crown, and now a chance for an unprecedented fourth consecutive in the Long Island Class C for the Seahawks of Cold Spring Harbor. Welcome to Hofstra University at James M. Stewart Stadium on Long Island. The final game today of the LICs with Dave Resnick. Amanda Puglisi will join us shortly. I'm Dan Savarino. And David, you look at these team comparisons, different numbers this year for Cold Spring Harbor, but it's still the same from them. Defense kills. Islip, though, offensively, they are very, very good.
Cold Spring Harbor with 15 straight wins. That is tied for the longest winning streak in New York State entering today. Both these teams with 16 wins overall. Another similarity, 1-goal victories in their county final.
Islip is led in the midfield by Mike Biankowski, a senior captain who happened to have that game winner in the Suffolk finals.
It was 6-5 over Mount Sinai. Biankowski inverted behind the net. He beat his man and brought Islip to a place where they've never been before, securing that county championship and a berth in the LIC.
Well, the Seahawks lost a bunch of All-Americans last year, but one guy who has been here for some time really bounced back into his senior year. It's Kevin Winkoff.
He is what makes the offense go. Not only is he the catalyst, but he's the glue guy as well. There was not a lot of returning production offensively outside of Winkoff, who did struggle through an injury-plagued junior year. He's been so great that his head coach, Dennis Bond, said that he should be locked up the moment he gets off the bus.
All right, here we go. Long Island Championship Class C. It's Islip, it's Cold Spring Harbor. The final one here from Stewart Stadium, and it's coming up next, only on News 12 Varsity. And welcome back to the Long Island Championship game. Well, Amanda Puglisi will be on the sidelines all day long.
Well, Dan, of course, Islip is fully aware of the pedigree of Cold Spring Harbor, but this coaching staff says we know how good they've been in the past, but that's the past, and we know our team today, our team is really good, and if we stick to the things that got us here, and if everyone just focuses on their job, we're going to have a really good shot at this, and we're going to be a little bit more than just okay. And for Cold Spring Harbor, Coach Bond says, sure, we graduated a lot of talent last year, and the names may change from year to year, but they go about every season the same. It's all about doing their job. It's about doing the little things and staying the course of Cold Spring Harbor.
The Buccaneers, coached by Keith Scheidel, 12th year at the helm, Islip guy, Dennis Bond. He has been in this program for nearly 3 decades now and has won so many different things over a number of years. For the first time, though, Islip is finally getting that taste of what a championship is really like.
In their 50th year of lacrosse, Islip wins its first county title. And Keith Scheidel, who is coaching his alma mater, who is a longtime JV coach prior to taking over as the head coach of this program, inspired by the past, but also in terms of the players and the makeup, bouncing back from a county final loss a season ago, to reach that point once again and surpass it. The challenge is large today, facing the only team in Long Island history to win 3 straight state championships.
Islip in the all-black uniforms, the gold numbers, and those gold helmets which shine brightly. Dennis Bond, same route every time he comes here to Hofstra. That's what he always tells the bus driver. Very predictable man. Practice the same all the time. Went to Sewanega High School. Played when he was in college here for Hofstra Lacrosse under John Danowski after a couple of years at NCC. And Keith Scheidel also played football here back when they played the Pigskin at Hofstra University.
Since you're an alum, you're allowed to talk about the Hofstra football program, so I will leave that to you. But what's interesting, Cold Spring Harbor's head coach Dennis Bond played and graduated from Sewanaka. His head coach in high school, the Long Island Hall of Famer Tom Flatley, who is here with the Garden City program for the Class B championship, asked him about Dennis Bond in high school, the work ethic, the talent. Tom Flatley remembers about Dennis Bond, who has taken a lot of those attributes to his coaching tenure of 19 years as the head coach.
Nick Barry has won 79% of his draws for Islip. In the white uniform, it will be Andrew DeGennaro, 86% he has won this season. Got hot with him last game. They've been going back and forth between him and Vinny Gandolfo, but he is getting the first rep here today. We're underway here at James M. Stewart Stadium. Islip from left to right, Cold Spring Harbor right to left. Chris Porzelt is the goalie to our right, and even though he has been the returning starter of a state championship team, didn't play pretty much the entire second half against Wantagh in their 10-9 win in the Nassau County Finals.
But there was no question who would be starting between the pipes today. Dennis Bond emphatic with us during our conversation earlier this week that Porzelt was the starting goalie of the Seahawks.
Took a penalty, had to come out. John Genovese made a huge save, and they just rode that hot hand all the way out for another Nassau County championship, the 11th of their program's history. Joe Youngerkiss, a sophomore, already verbally committed though right before those rules changed, and he'll be playing here. Goal line extended, it's Jeff Atlas, a senior attackman who gets the pole situation of Aiden Hemphy, a senior. Averaging more than 11 goals per game, this offense, but multifaceted. The guys in the midfield like a Youngerkiss, a Bienkowski, and then those down below, such as a Scheidel, a Giuliani, or Atlas. As already the stall warning is on, less than 2 minutes into this game.
I think in some ways that's a bit penal from the officials. Yes, the Buccaneers haven't attempted a shot. They haven't gone towards cage, but this is the opening possession of the game. Should have allowed, I think, the Buccaneers a little bit more time to get their feet set.
A bounce pass back in the midfield. Bienkowski with some room inside, shoots and misses wide. Mike Bienkowski, the 2-year captain, heading to West Point once he graduates. 4-year varsity starter. Fed in front, and that misses up high from Chris Giuliani, team's leading scorer. A lot of returning pieces for a group that lost last year to Shoreham-Wading River in the Suffolk County Finals. Well, this year, a 16-2 record. No longer that surprise to get themselves to the county championship. And they did it against Mount Sinai, where they led at halftime, didn't score in the third quarter. Pass goes outside of the box, and that will be a turnover with the stall warning on. So the Seahawks will begin their own half of the field, and the first time we will get a look at this offense 6-on-6. Something that Keith Scheidel brought up to us in terms of their defense. Surrendered just 3 goals against in 6-on-6D, and he wants to keep that number down today against a Poynton offense. Teddy Bentley, Brady Strout, and Danny Striano are the 3 midfielders on the first unit.
It's a close defense for Islip that features 3 multi-year starters. Teddy McLaughlin leads that group as a senior captain bound for Binghamton. Cold Spring Harbor entered this season with a lot of youth and inexperience on offense. There's the championship pedigree of the program, but maybe not necessarily all these pieces that we saw out there to start 6-on-6.
Kristen Lynch, the second-year OC, doing a phenomenal job this year, getting praise from Dennis Bond, who actually was an understudy under now Farmingdale head coach Mike Hungerford, who was the OC for a couple of state titles. Couple of line changes, and Winkoff will move it around the perimeter up to Teddy Bentley, a senior who has 20 goals this season. This team returned just one starting attackman, one second midfielder, their number 2 LSM, 2 close D, their 4th defender, and their goalie. A group that graduated multiple All-Americans and program changers, such as Licciardi, Alaviano, Estrau. Aris Goldschmidt, the senior, working up high, and now feeds it off to Stroud. Brady, the younger brother. Goldschmidt fires a shot wide left.
Game winner against Wantagh late in the 4th quarter. A comeback for the Seahawks on this field to claim their 3rd straight county crown.
Winkoff feeds inside, drops it in. Alex Moynihan. 1-0 Cold Spring Harbor.
Let's look in the scoring book in Cold Spring Harbor.
Eighth goal for Alex Moynihan this season, a sophomore. Camping out on the top of the crease. Great change of direction for Winkoff. And you just saw how all those black jerseys shaded to the corner where Winkoff was dodging from, and that opened up the crease for Moynihan.
Procedure called at the X. Cold Spring Harbor with the possession after the goal. Brought this up before, David. What Winkoff does, it is so surprising that more teams don't key in on him. This is a guy who, sophomore year, was part of a state championship group, played, started, banged up with injuries last year, concussion, leg, arm, you name it, he had it seemed. And really came back into form here in 2018, his senior campaign.
Well, I think there are different levels. Clearly, Winkoff is going to draw the opposing team's best close defender. But do you try to shut him off? Do you maybe try a short stick and try to play 5-on-5? I think that spoke to more of the points of what Dennis Bond is saying, that maybe teams haven't gone over the top to try to stop Winkoff, whether that be early sliding, shading, double teaming. I mean, already Teddy McLaughlin, who he identified as the best close defender, has been locking off Winkoff here.
Both of them heading to Binghamton next year, so future teammates. Richie Striano, one of the Striano triplets, and there are 4 of them on this team. As the stall warning is on.
I mentioned I thought it was an early stall warning on the other side, but the officials are consistent here.
Striano. Oh, Richie, the sophomore's 10th of the season. It's 2-0.
There's something about that stall warning that just increases the aggressiveness of an offense. On the blow-by. Just ran right past Youngerkiss. DeGennaro tried to drop the stick in time. Striano was too quick.
Gandolfo has won 78% this year. As again, they continue to alternate. Nick Barry at that Hofstra H. 2-0 lead. Islip had that real first possession of this game. Since then, haven't had the ball. A push without possession.
I don't know if it was a real concession or just the mentality that Cold Spring Harbor had. Dennis Bond said he expected to lose a lot of faceoffs, and I think that's a tip of the cap to Nick Barry, while also acknowledging that he's got two very good options as well. But I think it was the idea of the opposition can get hot, so we need a value possession. We can't turn it over. Our goalie in Chris Porzelt needs to be on his game. So far, Cold Spring Harbor has had the edge in that category, and they have a chance to build on their early lead.
In terms of the face-offs, this is the year that Dennis Bond said he's paid more attention to than any other in his 19 years as a head coach. And that's what happens when you lose someone like Matt Licciardi, now up at Cornell. One of the top face-off guys on the island last season, as this pass misses wide past Brady Strow, and it will be a turnover despite the good hustle on the far side of the field. Islip from left to right. Joey Youngerkiss and the first midfield unit on. Islip 2 years ago, their first county finals appearance since 2000. Now back-to-back years playing in a Long Island championship game. As Youngerkiss, his shot gets blocked, and here comes the transition game with Chris Mormile. The senior with a successful clear. Winkoff, skip pass. Goldschmidt going to the goal, bounces it in. Defense to offense, 3-0.
Boy, that pass, I don't know how many other players would see it or have the guts to make it. And Winkoff put it on a rope to Goldschmidt. That is through traffic, a dart. And then the big, typically lefty, dodging down the alley with his right hand. It's a big body dodging towards the cage, and a bit of a changeup on the shot to make it 3-0.
So Winkoff's second assist on Goldschmidt's 40th. And a face-off win for Nick Barry and the Bucks. Barry part of this senior class that has 15 different players on it. A group that last year they felt brought together as juniors. A few seniors and some sophomores. Now this is the last go-around. Been playing together since they were young kids. Playing PAL, Travel League. As Biankowski will hold back in midfield. Speedy player with the right hand, met by JT Rosselli.
Islip doesn't have a ton of depth, especially in the midfield. You have to wonder, in this heat against the pace of Cold Spring Harbor, how much can Keith Scheidel rely on his top three?
Atlas against Hinfey, nowhere to go. Eden Hinfey, one of the returning guys, three-year varsity players. This shot gets stopped, and then the penalty comes. Like a bull in a china shop. Chris Giuliani goes right into Porzelt. And it looks like Cold Spring Harbor is heading to their first EMO.
First thing of concern, Chris Porzelt popped back pretty quickly. Was rammed into one of the posts. Chris Giuliani got run into there by Liam Calley. Seahawks are man down.
So it looks like a 30-second push against Cold Spring Harbor. Check that. So Islip is here on the man up. Pass in front, Bienkowski puts it home. Islip's on the board.
When you're the underdog, or at least when you're going up against a team with a championship pedigree, when you're trying to build one yourself, you're just waiting for that turning point. You're waiting for that moment in which you could identify that you're comfortable. A couple of your best offensive players hooking up for this goal, erasing that 0 from the scoreboard, and that can go a long way for this Buccaneers club playing in their first LIC.
And they win the ensuing faceoff. Barry into the attacking third with 90 seconds to play here in the opening quarter.
So much about faceoffs. Yes, it's raw numbers. Are you winning more than the opposition? But also it's about timeliness. Make it, take it for Nick Barry and the Buccaneers, and after scoring that first goal and the offensive juices are flowing, they get it right back. Ride the wave for the Buccaneers.
With a minute to go, Bienkowski works to the far wing, flips it downstairs. Atlas heading to Florida Southern. Litzel will get a touch and back to Youngerkiss. As you can almost expect them to hold on to this for the final shot of the quarter.
That's also a piece of the timeliness, knowing that you can control the last couple of minutes. Rest your defense.
Heading inside, wide open net, but Porzell was able to get a piece off of Jeff Atlas and knock it loose. Now Moormile in transition with 10 seconds to go. The pole shot is stopped as Hawkinson put a low one on. DeGennaro with the save. 2 seconds to go. One last heave will not come as Moormile shuts him down in midfield. And the first 12 has come to a close.
At Cold Spring Harbor, if you don't ride, you don't play. Moormile, a great hustle effort at the end of the first.
So the Seahawks jumped out to a 3-0 lead. Winkoff with a couple of nifty feeds inside, but it's 3-1 as we head to the second. Second quarter here at Hofstra University, 3-1 Cold Spring Harbor over Islip. Dan Savarino, David Resnick, Amanda Puglisi, thanks so much for joining us all day long. As you look at the Islip Buccaneers playing in their very first LIC, Suffolk County champions. Big goal towards the last couple of minutes of this first quarter to keep them in this game, but as they have already learned with Cold Spring Harbor, blink of an eye, you make a mistake, it can go the other way. Now, Amanda Puglisi was down there by that Buccaneer huddle.
And Coach Scheidel telling his team he's very happy with the way his offense is playing. They've gotten good looks. They just need to connect. But also he's saying we need to move a little bit more without the ball. We're just standing there. If you're tired and you need some water, let us know. But you got to move without the ball. That's how we're going to lose our Cold Spring Harbor defenders.
It is a hot and humid day, despite the fact that the sun is not beating down. And even the coaching staff needs a sip of water as Dennis Bond looks on with a 3-1 lead. Both of these coaches kind of similar in a way. You keep to what you have. You don't really change based on each year. Stick to your motto, your program, and you keep moving on.
Great crowd today in this steamy, hot weather. I suppose if the Buccaneers have to wear black jerseys in the sun, their fan support has to do it as well.
Barry with the win over DeGennaro, and we're underway for the second. The pole! No good as Teddy McLaughlin tried to unleash a shot, got the ball back, timeout, Islip. Well, Islip, how did they get here? It was not an easy Suffolk County C. Despite that quarterfinal bye, two very close games against Bayport Blue Point and then the Mount Sinai victory 6-5.
You know, inevitably, if you're going to do something that you've never done before, you will have to go up against teams that have. And Bayport Blue Point, Mount Sinai, in the last decade, they've won county titles. And so for the Buccaneers to go through this journey and to beat teams with legacy, I think makes the championship even sweeter. They won 13 straight games to open up the season, and to be able to regroup in the playoffs after losing their final game of the regular season, I think speaks volume to the character of Keith Scheidele's club.
And a couple of losses to Class B opponents. A 2-goal defeat at East Islip, and then a 13-7 loss at the Suffolk County B champion Harborfields, we just saw about 30 minutes ago. So out of the Islip timeout, down by 2, their ball from right to left. Mike Biankowski will set the tone as he's out there with that first midfield unit, and there's pretty much only one. Litzel and Youngerkiss. Here is Youngerkiss, split dodge, shoot up high, and gets hit to the turf on the way. Hawkinson and LSM who threw the body. Fed in front, and fanning on the shot is Giuliani. Still loose on the carpet. Litzel will scoop it up and keep the possession alive. Now Ryan Scheidele, the nephew of the head coach Keith. Youngerkiss. Giuliani gets tripped up. Right back to his feet.
A little showmanship there as he squared up against Guarneri.
That brought some oohs and ahs from the fans. Tack on another one. Biankowski.
Individual effort for individual talent, and sometimes against a stingy D, you need someone to go out there and generate a shot and take the offense personally. Atlas dodging from X. A defender falls down on the split dodge, and in the face of the help defense, Biankowski rips the twine.
2 goals today for Islip, and both of them to number 23 as Barry wins the face-off. Drops it off, dodging inside, tie game, Jeff Atlas.
During the timeout, 6 in black was just sitting on the bench. He couldn't be a part of the defensive huddle. He wasn't welcomed in the offensive huddle. Nick Barry sat by himself. He's got a singular job: win possession, make it, take it for the Buccaneers, as Barry sets up Jeff Atlas, who ducks underneath beautifully. And I thought that first goal could be a turning point for a very dangerous offense. They have found their rhythm in part because of Nick Barry at the dot.
And wins another one. Ethan Rahl, the LSM.
And I thought what was very interesting is that Keith Scheidele said, we'll score. I have confidence in our offense, but it's about our defense. Are we going to communicate? Are we going to lock in? That's our toughness and identity. Buccaneers, I think, were in the danger zone of not touching up in the box, and so they get bailed out by their head coach.
12th year at the helm, only the 3rd head coach in Islip history.
He played for Bruce Babenzine, who was the 2nd coach. And then Keith Scheidel from 94 to 06 was on the coaching staff of the head coach that he played for, and then he took over for Bruce back in 2007. And Coach Babenzine has been in contact and has even made the trip up for this LIC. We mentioned the celebration of half a century of Islip lacrosse. And sometimes as a head coach, you even have to act as your own equipment manager. You got to make sure your players are cool.
Well, after a 3-0 Cold Spring Harbor lead, those ships have kind of swayed in the direction of Nick Barry and the black jerseys.
There's nothing more exciting for an offense than make it, take it lacrosse. Getting the ball back once you've scored, or you've gotten into a rhythm, or you feel more comfortable. Seahawks earned possession through the face-off to begin the game, jumped out to a 3-0 run. Nick Barry winning 6 of 8 overall. Perfect in the 2nd quarter as the Buccaneers have come all the way back. And I don't know who he's talking to, but he should keep on talking.
Litzel with some space inside and fires it wide.
I think sometimes a face-off man can live a very lonely existence, understanding the importance of your role and knowing that you have the wings if necessary, but it's a mano-a-mano battle right in the middle of the field.
Sometimes when you see 2 guys who have had success this season, like Gandolfo and DeGennaro, it could be a little tougher to get that feel of each individual and their individual qualities.
DeGennaro facing off at 86%, Gandolfo 79%.
The Bucks have a lead. Giuliani. A 4-goal run, 3 here in the 2nd quarter.
Jack Litzel dodging down the left alley. Early slide, and Giuliani right on the welcome mat. Depending if the Bucks are home or away, his jersey number switches between 4 and 12. Number 12's got 45 goals on the year to lead the way for the Buccaneers.
And look at that support. This is a tight-knit community that loves their sports. And Cold Spring Harbor has a lacrosse ball for what feels like the first time here in the 2nd quarter. Dennis Bond tried to call a timeout, but they'll turn the ball over regardless.
Goldschmidt there was called for a warding off.
Hunter LaFrance up ahead to Atlas. And the best defense you can play against Kevin Winkoff and this offense of Cold Spring Harbor is when they don't touch the lacrosse ball, which they really have not here in the 2nd.
There have been a lot of great lacrosse coaches on Long Island, and yet none of them have figured out how to score without possession. It might be done at some point.
Minkowski, he netted the first 2. Bounce shot, Porzell makes the stop. Pops out in the middle, Moormile reaching in and secures it into the pocket. The shifty senior into the offensive end. And now Winkoff and company can get a 6-on-6 situation. Peter Licciardi getting a run here on the attack as they rotate that third attackman. So it's Winkoff, Licciardi, and Goldschmidt, the three down low. Peter, the younger brother of Matt Licciardi, All-American, class of 2017. Goldschmidt working with the screen as Bentley flips it up ahead for Winkoff. This group is so used to winning. You never want to be that one class, that one team that doesn't win as Winkoff whistles this wide right. This is a team that is 70-3. 70-3 since 2015.
It's a run of 3 straight years.
Tie game, Teddy Bentley.
And into this year, a 4th, where they've lost at most 1 game. And a lot of the Seahawks are working on their off-season golf swing as a goal celebration. As Teddy Bentley bounces one in. Seahawks were scoreless for about 8 minutes. And we are tied.
Bentley, an honorable mention all-county player last year, working on the 2nd unit as one of their D-middies. Quarterback of the football team, and all-county QB this past season for Cold Spring Harbor. As at the face-off X, DeGennaro wins the draw, and then Bond calls a timeout.
Had a pair to use over the final 6:11 of the first half. Like the approach offensively when they had it last, leading to the Bentley goal. And outside of a non-league loss to Syosset, they've been perfect. 15 straight Nassau County final appearances, 16 of the 19 years for Dennis Bond reaching at least the county final. They had to work for it against Floral Park. It was tight early, and then they really had to put their best foot forward in the second half against Wantagh. The jersey's the same, Dan. The name's the same. Dennis Bond is still the head coach. But I think you are not giving, not you, but you as in the world, giving these Seahawks enough credit for what they've done, because the expectation is because the previous 3 teams did it, they can too. This is a different group. You talked about Licciardi playing at Cornell, the 3-year run that he had. Laviano getting time as a freshman at Virginia, and all the other superstars that they had from last year's team. Yes, there's an expectation. Yes, there's a tradition of excellence, but this group has really created their own identity as winners under Dennis Bond.
A group that has the 3rd most wins, tied with Massapequa over the last 9 years, and the top winning percentage. Only teams with more wins than them, Garden City, Ward Melville, 2 that we see year in and year out playing in this Long Island Championship.
And who already won today. Ward Melville winning their 3rd in a row. Garden City going back-to-back. Cold Spring Harbor has the opportunity to win their 4th straight.
Danny Striano, the junior, passing down to his younger brother in Richie, who will run off, and Bentley will complete the unit.
And for Cold Spring Harbor, if they advance, their nemesis the last couple years, Pleasantville from Section 1, has dropped down to Class D. So the Final 4 would be, for either of these teams, would be a bit easier than it has been in years past. Whether it be those Shoreham-Wading River battles with Bronxville, or the matchups that the Seahawks have had the last 3 years against the Panthers.
Striano inside. Winkoff can't pick it up in that slot. And here comes Ethan Rahl, the senior captain. Rahl draws the flag, takes a check up high, and it looks like Islip is heading to their second man advantage. A defensive unit that has played together for a number of years now, and Ethan Rahl has been there for the last 4.
Foul against Licciardi on the ride. Believe he was called for a slash there. Cold Spring Harbor man down unit prior to allowing a man down goal earlier this game was at 79%.
1 for 1 today, and it was a 30-second penalty. Youngerkis works on the wing with Litzel manning the point, and now Biankowski. Fed inside, bounce shot by Scheidel, and it's stopped by Porzel. Bentley works off the check, and then a stick check. Into the attacking third, quick shot, and misses wide. Goldschmidt.
Great recognition by Cold Spring Harbor in the sense that they took a chance, they took a shot from the wing, Goldschmidt, but understanding that in the corner he had a teammate there for the backup, so it would not be a man down transition one and done situation. They knew they'd be able to kill off the penalty, settle 6-on-6, assuming that DeGennaro did make the stop.
And we're all even. The players on the field and on the score. Cold Spring Harbor led 3-0, then 3-1 heading into this second frame for a 4-goal run by Islip. 3.5 to play here in the half. Well, the Seahawks, even though they have won 4 Long Island championships, including the last 3, this is a group that seems to be destined to see the top team regardless in the Bond era. They have lost to 8 state champions since 2000, on top of winning 4 themselves. No goal in the crease. Grady Stroud got hit hard as he went to a tough area of the fields.
Timeout on the field.
No flag on this play. As the Islip supporters look on. Painted in purple, if not wearing black. Hope that body paint comes off. That's gonna be really awkward.
It's gonna melt off in this heat. I really do think that there's an advantage, or at least there could be advantage, of being the home team, wearing the whites, either on the field or in the stands, as Dennis Bond is walking off with a stick after checking in on Keith Scheidel. Wanted a closer look also.
So with under 3 to go, we'll step out momentarily. The score is 4-4 here in the Long Island Championship game. Seahawks of Cold Spring Harbor have tied it up late here in the first.
Want more control of how you pay your bills? With Optimum, you can easily access and pay your bills online at optimum.net/paybill. You can also look back at your billing history and set up automatic payment options. No more missed bills means no more late fees. And who doesn't want that? So save time, save a stamp, and save the environment. All by taking control of your bills online. Optimum. Let's connect more.
Hey, Mom, do you know where Dad is? I need to ask him a quick question.
Optimum House rule number 9. Always be reachable with Optimum.
Okay, Mom. I'll try him at home first.
With Optimum Voice Find Me feature turned on, you can get a call on any phone every time.
Hey, honey, what's up?
Optimum. Let's connect more.
Brady Stroud walks off under his own power, but limping slightly. So good sign to see as he'll be attended to by the medical staff. 4-4 game here with under 3 to go in the second quarter. With David Resnick, Amanda Puglisi, and Dan Savarino, thanks for joining us here. The final game of our coverage of the Long Island Championship game, Class C. We already have decided 3 winners moving on in this state tournament. Mattituck defeated Oyster Bay this morning in the second year of the D. Ward Melville, Massapequa, identical 8-5 victory again in Class A, back-to-back years. And then Garden City took care of Harborfields about an hour ago. So Cold Spring Harbor ball, again, no penalty on that last play. And they'll work in the midfield as Richie Striano will fill in here for Stroud. And Amanda Puglisi is checking in on that injury report.
Well, with Brady Stroud, it seems like he got the wind knocked out of him, and while he fell down, his face mask actually went into his nose, and he's got a bloody nose now. So the wind came back, the breathing came back. They're going to try to stop the bleeding, and if they can stop the bleeding, they're going to put him back in this half. If not, they're just going to take a look at him and reevaluate him at halftime.
So good sign to see for Brady Stroud, the sophomore. Expect to see him back at some point this game. Striano's played catch in midfield as Monahan. Monahan downstairs. And Winkoff surveys.
As his defender held up. Winkoff in command of the situation.
Now goes and shoots it, but it's stopped by DeGennaro.
Winkoff needed an extra step as he turned the corner. Barely had an angle.
Winkoff, the 4th Winkoff to play here at Cold Spring Harbor. His cousin Corey was their ex-player back when they won a state championship in 2006. Ryan went to Binghamton. Allen went to BU. Both his brothers. Swatting at the ball is Rawl. And Cold Spring Harbor possesses it again and burns their final timeout with under a minute to go.
Dennis Bond watching the situation the entire way. Once a white jersey had possession of it momentarily, he was all over the official. And as that play was happening, Brady Stroud with his helmet back on, it appears 12 and white is ready to get back in.
See there, the goals per game is just about as usual. Goals against has always been 5 or less. For the last few years, the only loss to Syosset, and the only game they surrendered 10 or more this season in a contest where Dennis Bond has said, listen, they exposed our sophomores. We knew it early on, but we were able to recover from that, and that was good.
15-game win streak entering today. Tied with Massapequa for the longest win streak in New York State. Chiefs fell to the Patriots in the Class A LIC. So win today for Cold Spring Harbor, and they have the longest win streak in the state heading into the semifinals.
Still gets text messages from those guys who have just won the past couple of state finals, guys who are playing in NCAA tournaments, saying how they miss being on that bus going to Hofstra University for a Nassau County Championship or Long Island title like it is today. The Cold Spring Harbor group is not the largest school, obviously playing in Class C. Brady Stroud coming back on the field, but a lot of them have siblings who have played, have succeeded. It just feels like they're bred differently up there in Cold Spring Harbor.
It's a different expectation. They expect to win across the board in all their different sports. It's a community mentality, expecting excellence. And the lacrosse program is 34 players strong. For a Class C school, that's a mighty roster. And it's not just quantity. We know the type of quality that comes out of that community.
A team that doesn't even play summer ball together. They don't play fall ball. The sign just lifts. Dennis Bond even says it. They don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to hear theirs. Let's just take some time off. Feels it's good for them. 10 seconds to play here in the half of a tie game. Stroud spins off a check. Cross pass, looking for Moynihan, is picked off by DeGennaro. Heaves it up, takes one bounce, hits Porzel, and that is the end of a very entertaining first half. So in the second quarter, it was Islip who put on 3 straight and tied the score, then took the lead. We have a tie game here at halftime. Stay with us on News 12 Varsity. Well, good things for sunglasses, because that would be a really, really rough couple of hours sitting in those seats for the Islip fans. 4-4 here at halftime of the Long Island Championship game here in Class C. David Resnick, I'm Dan Savarino. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, right off the bat, you saw the quickness of Cold Spring Harbor with some really quick goals.
Well, it's been a game of runs in the first half. Alex Moynihan from Kevin Winkoff. And then Richie Striano coming in unassisted. That was 2-0 in the first quarter. And then Aris Goldschmidt moving in on the setup from Winkoff. Then on the man up, that's when things started to turn for Islip rather. Biankowski from Giuliani, and then Biankowski unassisted. Cutting it to just one, and then Jeff Atlas pulls Islip all the way back, and then the Buccaneers take the lead. Chris Giuliani scores, but Cold Spring Harbor winning some face-offs in the latter stages of the second quarter. Teddy Bentley tied things up with 6:19 to go in the frame. We didn't see another goal for that back half of the second quarter. It's been a game of runs based off of the face-offs. These teams have been very even.
Face-offs +2, shots +1. I mean, you said it, despite that ground ball battle, which is the only statistic that is a large margin for Cold Spring Harbor, this has been as tight of a game as we've ever seen.
Yeah, I think so, and I think the previous results would lead us to believe that this was an even matchup, and the first half played out that way.
So 4-4 here at halftime. Stay with us when we come back. Plenty more to come before we start off that third quarter. It's the LIC here on News 12 Varsity. A building that is hosted and continues to host so many memorable lacrosse games at all different levels. James M. Stewart Stadium at Hofstra University. 4-4 here in the first half as we get ready for the second. The Empire State boys lacrosse season does not end today. We have the semifinals here in Class B. John Jay, Garden City Wednesday from Adelphi University in nearby Garden City, Long Island. So I guess a little bit of an advantage for the Trojans in this one. And then in the A, Ward Melville, Niskayuna. That should be a phenomenal one at 6:30 under the lights of Matamet Fields. David Resnick and Lou Brogno will have all of the action. 4-4. We'll be right back, and we'll check down with Amanda Puglisi, who spoke to both head coaches. Islip, Cold Spring Harbor, coming up. Welcome you back to Long Island for the Long Island Championship game here in Class C. Islip, Cold Spring Harbor. With David Resnick, Dan Savarino, Amanda Puglisi, the entire News 12 varsity crew, and what a season it has been here in lacrosse on the island and the tri-state overall. And we got plenty of games still remaining before it gets way too hot out and the high school season comes to a close. Well, this has been so far a really interesting game, David. A game of runs, like you said, but when you look at the beginning of that second quarter, Islip is just a different team than they were towards the last couple of minutes without the ball.
Yeah, confidence, face-off wins, it goes a long way. And when you're experiencing something for the first time, if that moment of comfortability comes early enough and you have the talent to back it up, you can make it a game. If it doesn't come until late in the second quarter when you're down big or until the second half, then that's when things get out of hand. Cold Spring Harbor has the template. They have the experience. They have a coaching staff that understands how to prepare their team for this moment. Credit Islip, because Keith Scheidel said, we have the talent, and I think that the Buccaneers proved it in the first half. I thought it was really interesting. Coach Scheidel was telling us, typically, I don't like to look ahead. I only want to know about our next game. But prior to playing the county final, he was here at Hofstra scouting the Cold Spring Harbor Wantagh game. A colleague of his convinced him that that was what he had to do to give his team the best chance to win.
Oh, here's Amanda Puglisi, who spoke to both head coaches.
Well, look, guys, lacrosse is a game of runs, and that's exactly what we saw in the first half. And for Islip, they are looking to make some adjustments offensively. They're saying Cold Spring Harbor is really pushing us out, not allowing us to get our offense going. So we're going to go into another set here. We're going to look for like a 1-2-1 kind of thing where we can really push the ball around, work the ball around, and really we just can't stay still is what the Islip team said. And for Cold Spring Harbor, they knew coming into this game they were going to try to shut off Winkoff, and that's exactly what they did. And Coach Bond telling me the entire team needs to step up. It's 4-4 in the Long Island Championship. We expected this kind of grind.
Halftime adjustments, we'll see what changes and if it comes to fruition. Face-off win for Cold Spring Harbor off the wing. Rosselli shoots it up high, and DeGennaro with the stop on the pole.
That's a one-on-one stone-cold denial. And I think Roselle didn't do himself a favor by coming in at such a sharp angle when there wasn't a defender in front of him.
Youngerkiss falls to his knees, moves the ball off. As now we'll get a look at this different set for the first time. A 1-2-1. Jankowski, hands free and whistles that wide.
First shot, second half taken by 23, Mike.
So the question with this 1-2-2-1 is who ends up taking the job as facilitator down low. And right now it looks like that will be Atlas. As Youngerkiss has a short stick matchup against Bentley. Islip in the beginning of that second quarter possessed the ball for the majority of the first half of it. And they were able to score 3 goals before a long, lengthy Seahawks possession, which earned them 1 and the equalizer. Youngerkiss, very talented sophomore, cuts to his left. It's the slide over there. Now Litzel weaves in and out. Youngerkiss rips the shot, and it's stopped by Porzel. Into the stick of Hinfey. And he gallops on the near side of the field before dropping it to Mormile. Slips, recovers. Roselli shoots it off the bar, and it pops into the stands.
Roselle wants a goal badly. Doing a nice job staying with the play with Mormile and pushing his momentum towards the cage instead of looking for early substitution. Both goalies prior to that attempt trading excellent stops to begin the third.
A patient offense from Cold Spring Harbor. A group where many of the returning players have not been used to many of these tight games where you have to come back, you're playing down. Up until essentially the state semifinals and championships the last couple of years, many of these Cold Spring Harbor players were used to seeing them demolish teams by double figures and more by halftime. Not the case this season, but still a very talented yet young group. Stroud with the short stick, feeds it downstairs, and the stall warning is on. This crew not afraid to put up the arms. Striano fights for the loose ball, can't keep it in. Islip possession. Hunter LaFrance across midfield. One of their top players in the last game, the D Mitty, who has been on varsity for now 3 years, but the group that got the MVP was actually the Scout in the Suffolk County Finals. And they said it would be a little tougher to emulate the Scout team of Cold Spring Harbor than it was for Mount Sinai. LaFrance, who has scored 10 this season. Dodges to the cage and throws on the brakes. Litzel and Youngerkiss. Spins right, weaves inside, shoots, scores! 5-4.
There's been success for Islip dodging from the midfield and allowing Bienkowski, or this time Youngerkiss, to just win a matchup. The sophomore, a big, or not so big, but strong player, able to withstand the check and power through a defender to get to the cage.
A determined young man who they had to tell him to stop lifting after practice. He doesn't get burnt out. DeGennaro, face-off win. The shot rings off the bar from Winkoff. Trickles all the way back to Cold Spring Harbor Real Estate. Stick goes flying, and it's scooped up by Rawl, who now loses possession as it goes into the Cold Spring Harbor bench.
Cold Spring Harbor +7 in the first half in ground balls. just a bit better at picking up in tight spaces.
Teddy Bentley bowls his way into Matt Troutman and finishes with the right hand. We're all tied up.
Plus a flag for a cross check that will be assessed on the faceoff. That's overpowering. Overhand release on the wing. Breaking a stick in the process. And for a player under Dennis Bond, who is a defensive player and more of a second-line midfielder a year ago, Teddy Bentley leading the midfield unit today with a pair of goals.
7th goal of these playoffs for Teddy Bentley. The faceoff still comes as Troutman sits for a minute. First time we will see the Seahawks on the man advantage. Ball pinballs around into the Cold Spring Harbor end. Bodies go flying, so do the sticks, and Stroiano comes away as he garners through midfield. This is not a timeout situation.
Dennis Bond, it appears, alerted the officials to, I think, either an injury or some type of equipment malfunction. And it was more of a safety concern, I believe, than anything else. But I can't pinpoint exactly why play was stopped. I know Amanda is in the vicinity. There's still 26 seconds left on the Troutman cross-check.
So no harm, no foul. Under 6 to go here in the third. Moynihan working from the point. 5 seconds remaining. The shot by Stroiano, it is stopped by DeGennaro. Troutman out of the box after a successful kill. Bienkowski misses wide. Younger Kiss met by Moormile. As Bienkowski will work behind the cage against Hawkinson. Hawkinson, a transfer from St. Dom's, been playing here 2 years now. Little turnaround misses. Good hustle by Porzell, but it will stay with the Bucks.
It was the hustle by Porzell, but then the headsy play by Atlas to run angled to the ball and not stay on a straight line to the end line. If he didn't change his pass, I think that's Porzell possession.
Atlas to Bienkowski, spins around, gets the double team, feeds it off. Youngerkiss down that right wing, and no shot available. Litzel, nowhere to go himself.
Back to that last stoppage a moment ago, it was a potential injury concern, but everybody checked out.
Shot low by Giuliani. No way, says Chris Porzell.
Thanks to Amanda for sending a messenger pigeon up with the information.
The old days.
These windows are locked, so.
Will Giaraputo, the attackman, who is just a sophomore, is getting his first run here, as Winkoff will feed him south of the cage. Under 3.5 to go in the third quarter, 5-5 game. Just turned into a seesaw affair as Winkoff misses wide right, and he's displeased.
We introduced these teams at the start of the broadcast of squads, each with 16 wins on the season, and teams that won their county final by just a single goal. And the pace and the play of this one leads me to believe it could be that type of margin again come the fourth.
Striano with room, goes low to high and airmails it. Well, he wants that one back, David.
A great dodge to set up a one-on-one chance. Might have been a bit too cute. Love the power that he generated, but tried for that upper corner.
Bentley, step down, it's in. He scored the last 3 Cold Spring Harbor goals, and the Seahawks lead by 1.
What'd you say, Dan? Now 8 playoff goals for Teddy Bentley of 23. So we're talking about a third of his production coming in the last 3 games. Great find by Striano. Richie getting some crucial minutes here when the game matters the most. Teddy Bentley, a senior, carrying the load offensively for Cold Spring Harbor.
This is the first time they have led since surrendering the lead way back there early in the second quarter. Kicked ahead, looking for Danny Striano. He gobbles it up into the cross. One-handed pass goes to nobody. Now the bodies come flying as Rawl falls to the turf. Shot went in, does not count.
Last lead prior to that goal for Bentley. It's a 3-2 advantage in the second quarter, and then 11 seconds later, Islip tied it up. That was the early stages of the second as part of a 4-goal run for Islip, where they took their first lead of the game.
Under 2 to play in the third. Atlas, who has been up since his sophomore year, at a third of the way through that season, and then a mainstay the last 2 as a starting attackman. Bailey Golovich gets a run, number 9. Litzel! Top left corner, snipes it in.
Jeff Atlas, your classic ex-attackman. This is a terrific feed against a short stick defensive midfielder that was scrambling. That's a howitzer from the midfield. Typically more of a crease finisher. Wasn't on the circle, but had the power to blast it by Porzel. The 4th tie today between Islip and Cold Spring Harbor.
Barry with the win on the draw. And when Islip was scoring and scoring at will, it was winning faceoffs afterwards. Timeout, Islip. After the pressure came from Cold Spring Harbor.
Mark this one down because in a game like this, every possession matters. That goes without saying. It's the type of game where you're going to want timeouts down the stretch. But Keith Scheidel deciding in this moment, having tied the game up and winning the face-off, here's an opportunity. Again, it's that double opportunity. Hold on to the ball, keep it away from the opposing team's offense, control it for the final minute 10, but then also try to get the lead back by scoring.
This team historically has been in this situation countless times. You've heard us say it like a broken record throughout. But no team has ever won in Class C 4 consecutive Long Island championships. Manhasset and Cold Spring Harbor are the only two in Class C to win 3 consecutive.
And for Manhasset, they did it at the expense of Cold Spring Harbor. Those late 2000 battles in which Cold Spring Harbor and Manhasset would meet in those Class C championships.
AP was in that Islip huddle.
And for Islip right now, the key is to keep the ball out of the sticks of Cold Spring Harbor. They're going to work the ball around on offense, really work for that last shot is what the coaching staff is telling their Buccaneers.
Amanda, we just caught sight of that mister. I hope you're able to work your way into the good graces of the Islip staff. It's steamy down there for everybody. But in a spring season that has been plagued by snow and rain and cold weather, I think this is the preferred climate out of the two.
To some. Depends on when.
If you want, bring your parka back. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm good with that. I'll take this.
Oh, so you're just speaking for other subs?
I'm speaking for others, yes.
Okay. Yes. Considerate of you.
I try. Under a half minute to go in the third. Atlas working at the point now. As they invert this offense. Youngerkiss, Biankowski, Litzel, 12 seconds to go, and now they'll go. Fed behind the gauge. Here's Litzel, back to the point. Youngerkiss, the shot, and into the stick of Porzel. Slings it out the other way, and that's the end of the third. 12 minutes of regulation time to play. And we will be all tied up at 6 goals apiece. We've had 4 ties thus far in this game. A seesaw affair at Hofstra's James M. Stewart Stadium. Stay with us. Fourth quarter here at Hofstra University. 6-6 is the score. 2 guys who went here, graduated from here, and now have a chance to coach their teams on this field. With 12 minutes remaining in regulation, a spot that Islip has never been in, and Cold Spring Harbor has been countless times, including the last 3 years.
It's a fan base for Cold Spring Harbor with high expectations. They understand what it's like to be on this stage. Conversely, for Islip, they have come out in good numbers today as the Buccaneers play in their first LIC.
And you take a look there at the last 10 champs. Cold Spring Harbor, the last 3. That Babylon year in 2014. Shoreham Wading River had a couple of good seasons. Then Manhasset a couple of good seasons. It has been very dominant in Suffolk County. Amanda Puglisi was down by the Seahawks sideline.
Coach Bond told us coming into this game how important Kevin Winkoff has been for this team, and Islip has been able to shut him down. So in the fourth quarter, they're going to look now to get Kevin Winkoff going. They're going to look for some matchups that are going to be favorable to them, maybe some picks that's going to give Kevin Winkoff the matchup they're looking for.
There's Winkoff with a shot, right on cue, but DeGennaro with the save. We haven't spoken enough about him today. DeGennaro has come up with some pretty good stops, David.
I think both goalies have been timely with their saves. I think they've made a lot of good ones as well.
Striano on the ride, but this pass goes out of bounds. A guy who they purposely put in just to ride.
And I think with the goalies, at times their defenses have let them down. And so there's been a lot of one-on-one opportunities in which either tracking it or making a quick reaction. Thought the goalie numbers were a bit higher entering this quarter, but shots are low because of drawn-out possessions. It's hard, I think, Dan, to say who this pace favors, other than to say both teams have strong goalies and good defenses, but offenses that have the ability to break out and put 3-4 up in this quarter to almost double their production to this point, especially on the Cold Spring Harbor side if they're going to look to really try to feature Winkoff.
Youngerkiss, left hand misses. Cold Spring Harbor ball, good hustle by Liam Kelly. Kelly, a third-year varsity player, first-year starter on this close D. Headman pass to Bentley. Successful clear. With still 10 minutes of regulation time to go.
Winkoff is being fully locked off by McLaughlin.
Goldschmidt to the near alley. And McLaughlin's been very good today, as he has been all season long. This is a kid who, in December 2016, was actually diagnosed with cancer. Fell into remission, played last season, despite not being 100% in terms of muscle and everything coming back. And he's back to the old Teddy, and has been playing stout defense all day long. Youngerkiss, blowing past defenders. Boy, amazing to think he is only a sophomore.
After an all-county freshman campaign, Islip has relied a lot on this top line. Bailey Kovalich coming in 9 in black, getting a run here in the midfield.
Kovalich pump fakes a few times, heads free, it's in! Just his second goal of the season, and it's a huge one.
That is a coach making the right call at the right time. I can't even recall, and not saying it hasn't happened, that Kovalich got a midfield run today, and it was almost if Cold Spring Harbor wasn't sure what to do with this personnel. Bentley is usually sure-handed defensively, just giving the junior a bit too much room. In close games, getting offense from unlikely sources is sometimes the way you tilt the outcome in your favor.
And they even have said it in the past that he's a guy who would get a lot more minutes if he played for a different group. They were trusting him in bigger spots as the season progressed and into the playoffs. A dark cloud has come over Schuart Stadium at this point, with still the lights on.
Is that figuratively or literally?
Yeah, guess both.
No, both. This is a great game. There's no dark cloud.
I thought you were talking about the dark cloud of the jerseys.
Oh.
I thought that's what you were saying. That's just a misunderstanding. Of course not. It's been a phenomenal game.
Although I'm told kids these days don't know how to use the word literally. So maybe we need to just get better at communicating.
Literally.
Yes.
Under 8 to play. Kolovich, split dodge, shoots wide. Scooped up by Giuliani, south of the cage. Scheidel, Kolovich. Good recovery by Bentley there. Youngerkiss slides and still controls. And that's going to be a flag as Atlas hits the deck.
The goal by Kolovich has completely re-energized Islip's offense. And Kolovich getting some major love from his teammates as he checks out for the man-up unit. And the shot by Kolovich was the equivalent of a heat check earlier in that sequence. And you just gotta love when somebody is called upon to do a specific role, and despite limited playing time, he excels. It's about making contributions to your team and stepping up for your teammates when necessary.
This will be a half-minute penalty. 1 for 2 thus far, and they scored on their 32nd. Atlas gets denied. A split save by Porzel. And now Bentley gallops across midfield. Bentley stopped by DeGennaro.
What a save.
We're all even as Bienkowski runs ahead. LaFrance, the shot, a changeup, which is stopped.
Great trail check. That really affected the velocity of LaFrance.
Back and forth we go. Mormile scores!
I see your Kolovich, and I raise you a Mormile. Short stick defensive midfielder in transition, stepping up big for Cold Spring Harbor. Transition play from end to end. And the bouncer skipping by DeGennaro, who on the previous defensive sequence came up with a huge save.
Small but quick. Very good athlete and good lineage. His sister is on Daniel Castelline's girls lacrosse team.
5th tie of the game.
Cold Spring Harbor has led by as much as 3. The largest lead for Islip is just 1. 6.5 to play in regulation time. A battle at the Hofstra H. This is Gandolfo and Barry. Timeout, Cold Spring Harbor. Excellent job by the face-off unit. And they're down to just 1 timeout each.
Cold Spring Harbor bringing 2 timeouts into the 4th quarter with the luxury of using one there. Make it, take it for the Seahawks. An opportunity to talk about this upcoming possession. Goldschmidt was the hero in the county final. Their 11th section championship in school history, 10 of them coming under Dennis Bond, who started his tenure in 1990 and won his first county title his first year in 2000 and his first county title in 2002. 2006 in the last 3 years, they have parlayed Long Island championships into state championships. And if you have a Nassau C team to go up against Shoreham-Wading River over the years, you've got a legitimate championship contender. And when Dennis Bond has had the goods, he's gone all the way. Tense moments for any head coach, especially one leading his alma mater and coaching in his first Long Island championship game. Regardless of the outcome, the way that Keith Scheidel has put Islip on the map and setting them up for future success is impressive. Cold Spring Harbor with possession, curious what they're thinking about on this offensive sequence.
Well, David, for Coach Bond, he's just telling his players it's all about smart possession right now. We don't see them rushing, and that's what he said. He said if we have transition and we can push the ball up forward and fast, fine. But if not, we got to work the ball around, work for a good shot. Maybe not our first shot, but our best shot.
I think it's interesting, Dan. We know that there's been a quick trigger on the stall warning, but they got the ball around 6 minutes in terms of the touch in the box. How much can they shorten the game and drain the clock? How much do they want to, philosophically as well?
Richie Striano. Out to the point. Now Danny, who feeds Brady Strow. Banged up early on in this game, came right back. Bentley has 3 goals today. And he feeds to Richie Striano, who has 1. Which doubled their lead at 2-0. Against LaFrance. Shot low to high and misses.
Dennis Bond told us about the adjustments he made in the second half against Wantagh, limiting his rotations. Well, Striano, Richie that is, the sophomore, getting a lot of run offensively and as part of this attack unit at the moment. Great opportunity for Winkoff off the restart, ball in his cross.
Winkoff, quick shot, would have been wide anyway. DeGennaro scoops it up and moves it.
I think that shot is indicative of Winkoff's potential frustration not being involved with the offense for long stretches of time. That was a tough angle shot immediately or relatively quickly after the restart. Could have worked for a better option.
Winkoff had assists on 2 of the first 3 tallies of that 3-goal run. Since then, nothing. And really has barely touched the lacrosse ball. When he has, the shots have been well wide.
So same mind frame for Islip as mentioned for Cold Spring Harbor. You have the ability to drain clock. How much do you want to ideally? How much do you want to shorten this game?
Youngerkiss working through a double, bounces it wide. Here's going to be a foot race that will be won by Cold Spring Harbor and Hunter Guarneri, a 3-year varsity starter. Guarneri's brother Dylan on last year's squad, but he also has won a couple of state titles himself as the team's LSM or close defender. 3:15 to play in a 7-7 game. Goldschmidt. Richie Striano. Works against the short stick matchup of Troutman. Far goal line extended and nowhere to go.
Islip double pulling the midfield. Cold Spring Harbors look to Striano to take advantage of a matchup at X. Seahawks do have a timeout left.
The Buccaneers student section cheering on in support. Quick shot, putting it up high. Striano misses again, but he has taken a few shots thus far in the last couple of possessions. The sophomore who this season has rotated in with the first midfield. Stroud to the point. Bentley rings it off the pipe. It will stay with the Seahawks, but that's as good of a shot and spot to score as you'll see for Teddy Bentley. A minute 45 to play. Striano. Slips up, Bentley the bounce shot, DeGennaro denies.
Great job by the Buccaneers allowing perimeter shots. Devin DeGennaro is so locked in that anything outside of 12 yards, he's got it.
A poor clearing attempt, but now the ball's jarred loose in the midfield and gobbled by Youngerkiss. Time out, Islip.
Oh boy, both head coaches straddling the CBO. The second possession was claimed. They were ready to call timeout.
So a minute 12 remaining in the fourth quarter of a tie game, and Islip will have the lacrosse ball. Where have we seen this before for the Buccaneers?
Thankfully, I have good short-term memory. So
your old days hasn't gotten to you yet.
I don't have to worry about going too deep into the archives. There's a look at Aris Goldschmidt, the Cold Spring Harbor hero against Wantagh. But for Islip, what you're referencing, Mike Biankowski, a midfielder who inverted, who went behind the cage and scored late against Mount Sinai to pull out a 6-5 victory. That was the matchup they looked for at the end of the game, trusting their senior, their four-year starter, who is in the middle of that offensive huddle. He was the hero in the county final. Will he step up to that title again today, or will somebody else put their name into the lore of Islip lacrosse?
Biankowski has 2 goals today. That leads his group. The goal scorers for Islip thus far. Biankowski back-to-back. Atlas, Giuliani, Youngerkiss, Litzel, and Kolovich, who gave them a 7-6 lead with about 8.5 to play in regulation time.
1:12 left. This can be the possession. There's no stall warning that's going to be slapped on. Islip can play for that final shot.
A minute to go. And Islip will do what so many young lacrosse players practice since their youth. Just moving the ball around, having a catch.
And also getting that countdown in their head for the game winner. Will somebody's dream become a reality?
They didn't want to attack until about 10 seconds remaining against Mount Sinai. With 25, it looks like the same at this point. Jeff Atlas with 15 seconds. With 10 seconds to go. Atlas goes around the world. 8-7 with 7 seconds to spare.
Different player, same ideal for Atlas. Bienkowski is senior in the county finals. Atlas from X, the senior in the LIC. His second goal today, pushing his season total to 29. No bigger than that tally to put Islip up 8-7. But time here for Cold Spring Harbor and a clean face-off win to push transition with 7.4 left.
Andrew DeGennaro, the sophomore, takes the draw against Navy-bound Nick Barry. 5 seconds to go. Help comes, 2 seconds, 1. There's a new champion on the island in Class C. And it's the Buccaneers from Islip. First ever Suffolk Crown. Add a Long Island title to the mix. And knocking off the 3-time defending New York State champions. Jeff Atlas, the game winner with 7 seconds to go. A senior class with 15 on them who have done so much this season. Our Floor Decor Design Player of the Game is coming up next. 8-7 the final score in a thriller here at Seward Stadium. Long Island champions, Islip Buccaneers. Stay with us. Islip boys lacrosse, their very first Long Island championship. There's a new winner here in Class C. 8-7 the final score, a game that had a ton of different lead changes. We were tied 5 different times, David. And just from start to finish, this was just an exceptional game that was ended with a spectacular goal.
It's the 50th anniversary of Islip lacrosse. And if the Buccaneers were married, this would be the golden anniversary. And it is appropriate that in this season, they take home the hardware not only in Suffolk County, but win an LIC, and they'll have the opportunity to continue their quest for a state championship.
Our News 12 Varsity Player of the Game brought to you by Floor Decor Design, with showrooms in Syosset and Rockville Center. Visit floordecorandesign.com. Well, the hero is Jeff Atlas, and is going to be very popular in Islip today.
Jeff, you slay the Class C Giants in Cold Spring Harbor. First ever Long Island championship for Islip. For you as a senior, what does it mean to bring that title home?
It's easily the best feeling in the world. I've been an Islip Buck since I was literally the youngest kid ever. Played lacrosse with all these guys since we were 4. All we ever talked about was winning this, getting it for this town, getting up, beating these guys, especially after a 3-time defending state championship run. They're a great team, but we beat them today, and that's all that matters.
What was going on in your mind in that last play? What did you see that allowed you to get the shot?
So we drew up a play for a kid probably they wouldn't expect, but nothing taken away from him. We drew up a fake pick for Mike Bienkowski, number 23. Number 8 was supposed to come around all the way to the left side. I was supposed to feed it to him. Wound up being covered. Looked up at the clock. There's 8 seconds left. And I was like, all right, we're going to win the game, and that's that.
What was going on at halftime? What was said? What adjustments were made offensively for you?
Offensively speaking, we watched a good amount of film on them, and all they really did was press out, press out, press out. So we really practiced that all week in practice, but this week they came out. We have a couple players who could really stretch the defense, so they couldn't press out. So in the locker room, we drew up a couple more plays that just beat the defense they were playing.
Jeff, I think you're going to be a popular guy in Islip. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, back to you.
His dad was briefly a head coach at Islip High School, and he is the winner and hero here for the Buccaneers today. Our News 12 Varsity Play of the Game, and it's going to be played a bunch of times over the next year and a half at Islip.
This kid will never have to pay for a soda the rest of his life in Islip. Jeff Atlas from X took the game in his own hands. You heard his thought process. Option 1 was covered. Option 2 was the golden goal.
Jeff Atlas, the game winner, second of the game, 29th of the season. And the Long Island Championship goes to the Buccaneers. Well, like we said before, in New York, we're not done yet. Just Wednesday. You'll have to wait till then. I know it's a little far away. Midweek, John Jay, Garden City, from Garden City, Adelphi University, the New York State Class B semifinal. And then at 6:30, Niskayuna and Ward Melville, the defending New York State champ. Patriots will look to defend that title in the semifinals. It should be a good one from Adelphi University. Well, a tight-knit group from Islip. Something that they have been dreaming of since they were kids. Few years of heartbreak, losing in last year's county championship. This year, Suffolk County champions for the very first time. Add a Long Island title to the mix, and the season is not over yet. We were treated to something special today here at James M. Stewart Stadium. From this morning, our first broadcast at 12:30 to the very last one here as Islip slayed the dragon of Cold Spring Harbor. Many thanks to the entire News 12 varsity crew as always. My broadcast partner, David Resnick, Amanda Puglisi, I'm Dan Savarino saying thanks so much for joining us. Plenty of coverage still the next couple of weeks. Lacrosse season does not end yet. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening.